Bonsoir tout le monde. Good evening,
Bonsoir,
everybody.
bonsoir.
Welcome to another episode of Selection Nacional. I'm your co-host, Derek Etienne.
And I'm Daryl Etienne. And again, we are excited to come to the airwaves to talk to you about the national team. And today,
We just finished watching the game with the Haitian U17 national team versus Costa Rica.
and boy, was it a good game for us.
It was a very good game. We had a good result. We talked about Haiti getting a first win in the first match. And so a lot of good things were in that game. And there's, of course, some things that we want to dissect so that we can improve for the next match. So Haiti won 2, Costa Rica 1, and we're going to talk about that game right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. We want to just dive straight in. We just finished watching this game with Haiti versus Costa Rica U17. And again, we got the result. How do you feel about today's results?
Well, it's what you said last night. We talked about it, how important it is for us to get the first win. It didn't matter, how pretty it was going to be or how ugly it was going to be. It didn't matter. We just had to get the win. And that sets us at a good pace going into the rest of the tournament. And so getting the 3 points was massive for us, and I'm glad that we got the 2-1 win.
Yeah, and so we have, after our game was supposed to be Mexico and El Salvador.
Yeah.
I know that game is going on as we speak, so we'll get the information and see what happens, as we go forward. But right, for us, we're excited because we at least got the 3 points, but the coach can also look and see what can we do to adjust to better ourselves, to close out games. I think that may be one of the things we want to talk about is, did we close out good enough?
Yeah, so the starting lineup, we started with a 4-3-3, and we started with Kimberly Prince in goal, Jolisa Pierre, Valius, Pierre, Francois, Nicolas, Legenia Etienne, Nazon, Murat, Fleuro, and Dominique Desart were all in the starting lineup. And I thought the first 15, 20 minutes was powerful. I mean, you can see how we were dominant in that game, and we were really all over Costa Rica, didn't give them much room to play. Yeah. And it could have easily been 3-4-0 in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. For me, when I saw the pressuring that we did, it started off from our 9. All right, Eugenia, she was very agile, very, active as a defender, just dictating the pressure one way, and then the other wide players, Dominique Desert, particularly on the left side, can read it and actually help her with the press. Our 10 was actually squeezing in 10, 6, and 8. I mean, we were really good with pressing them and not letting them have any room to even play, and I think that came to our advantage.
And we said that even on the first episode, that a lot of time, sometimes when you're playing teams that we're not sure of, Haiti sometimes just sits back and tries to absorb the pressure. But anytime we go after teams, I think we put teams on their heel. And I don't think we realize of how fast, how strong and aggressive our attack is, that's intimidating for defenders. And so for us to come out there that strong the first 20 minutes, it could have easily been 3-0 if we could just finish our chances.
So congrats to the coach who apparently had that game plan and had the girls to come straight out pressing. All right, don't sit back. Let's just go after them, take it to them, and see what they have. And Costa Rica was rattled at first. I mean, they struggled to build, they struggled to connect, and they're a very good passing team. And as we go further on, we'll see what happened with the rest of the game. But the first 25, 30 minutes, they could not move. And I just think that we didn't capitalize offensively once we won the ball in those dangerous areas. And I think that's the part we've got to be a little bit better with.
Well, like you said, Coach Auger, he got it right. He had the right game plan. The mentality for the team was to go out and not sit back. Because let's be honest, Haiti was the favorite in this game. Now, I think they said Mexico is number 1, maybe Canada and USA is 2 and 3. Haiti sits at number 4 in the region. And so we were the favorite to go in there and win that game. And so to actually go out there and put the front foot forward, I think was strong, and it was a good statement. And it really could have ended the game in the first half.
And Costa Rica had a few players. Some are playing in the women's league here professionally. Some were playing actually over at in the
Costa
Mexican
Rica.
League. So
Yeah.
in Mexican League and Costa Rican League. So they have quite a few players that have the experience at this young age, at 16, 17. And so for Haiti to kind of dismantle that and really disregard the experience that they had and just went after them, I love the mentality starting the game. And so, and that's what's got to happen. You know, you can't go into games like this timid and afraid. You have to set the precedent early and let them know, look, we're here to win, we're here to compete, and we're here to kind of let you guys know that we exist and we're not just rolling over and letting you have it, you know?
Now, if we talk about the goal scorer, we got to talk about the goal scorer. I mean, only one thing I have to say, 2 goals, and both of them were scored by the superstar, number 9, Virginia Etienne, did an excellent job. She was a problem.
Now, you sure you're not just saying that just because, you know, the name Etienne is just screaming loud?
No, I'm not being biased at all. I think that she was the best player on the field. She was by far the strongest, most impactful player. I would say the most impactful player on the field. She was a problem, and they couldn't handle her.
Yeah, I think one of the main attributes that I think that we need to use more is her hold-up play. Because she's very good with receiving and recognizing the pressure on her back and either laying it off and moving to get the next, or actually knowing when the pressure is light or she's able to turn. So I think that we were trying to play her a little bit too much in behind, but I think that for where we're going, playing against the Mexicos and the other team, El Salvador, we definitely need a little bit of that hold-up play as well, and utilize that, because her size and her strength, they're not going to take the ball from her.
And there were moments when she did hold the ball up. She did do one-touch layoffs to try to link up with the midfield. But you can tell that she's used to being able to do things herself. You can tell that she's used to getting it and turning and creating and making things happen herself. But she doesn't have to do that now because she has some pieces around her that can help her to be even stronger in the attack.
Do you feel that Haiti utilized the strengths on the field what areas, and then the second question is, what areas are we weak in, you know, that we need to strengthen? So our strength first.
I think our strengths is definitely our speed. We are stronger, we are faster than in watching El Salvador and Mexico play, even those teams. We're faster, we're stronger. So our speed is definitely a factor. I think in our front four, that which had 9, 10, 8, I'm sorry, 9, number 10, 19, and 20. So that's Etienne up front, Desart on the left. We had Desart on the left, and you had Fleuro on the right. And then we also had Nazon in the 10. And I think the front 4 is strong. And having them putting pressure on and pressing the right way, and then winning the ball in the attacking third, we should be able to create things and make things happen. So I think if we utilize our front 4 more, particularly in the wide areas, I think to me, Dominique Desart is a game changer. She's a game, and I'm not just saying that because she's one of the players that we're familiar with, but she is a game changer on how the speed, the game intelligence, game understanding, the unselfish play on the goal. I think she's a game changer, but you can tell that she's new to the squad and they're not really used to playing her because there were several opportunities we could have slipped her in and we just didn't find her.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think that the trust is there yet, and it'll come. You know, she's new to the squad. She was a part of the group for the U15s, and then obviously with things that took place, she was not able to compete. But then now here she is just joining the team. And so, the chemistry is going to come once they train a little bit more and see what she has to offer. I think that's going to be another huge threat, because right now, from what I noticed in the game, it seems like Etienne is like you said, used to doing a lot herself, and she needs to utilize the help that she has. One, it will relieve her and save some of her energy.
Put her in front of the goal.
And to keep her, she's making a lot of diagonal runs and receiving the ball wide, but then she's looking up to wait to see who's coming to help me. So therefore, she has to dribble and do more than she needs to. But if we can start to slide and get our wide players, particularly Dominique, involved, then you saw what happened on the goal. And there were several opportunities for her to receive that same kind of
play. That same play could have happened 3 or 4 times earlier.
Just the first half.
In the first half. And that's what I'm saying. They could have been at least 3 or 4-0 in the first half. I think Fleuro, we need more from Fleuro if she's going to be a starter on the right side. I thought she did well keeping width. but I didn't feel that she really impacted the game
Yeah.
and to give us what we needed. But Ella Marie Etienne came in the second half, and she brought fresh legs. And I think that that's going to be a decision that Coach Auger is going to have to make soon. Is Ella Marie Etienne, does she bring something more as a starter, or is she better coming off the bench? But I thought she did well coming off the bench.
Yeah. And now, what do you think about our midfield? How do you think the midfield did today?
I think our midfield, we had moments. I like our number 6. I really like Delanche Pierre. I think that she's a smart player. I think that she's good on the ball. However, I think that we need to get her fit. I think that in the 60th minute, she ran out of gas, and you can tell she didn't have the same impact. And so, if she was at 100% fitness, then she would be a problem for us, for the other team.
I agree with you. But I would not put it on just her. I think the whole entire midfield ran out of gas around the 60th minute. But I think her quality is still good. With her being fatigued, or tired, she still had quality to try to show, but the quality started to diminish as the minutes went on. So the question for me is, why do you make changes, or why didn't you make changes if you're seeing the level lead? Because that's where the game started to change. Second half, around the 60th minute or 55th, 60th minute, that's when Costa Rica started to take over, and it started with the domination in the midfield.
I agree. But before we even get to the second half of how things were happening, look at how the stats on how we dominated in the first half. Haiti had 10 shots. 10 shots. But watch this. Only 3 were on target.
Wow.
10 shots to Costa Rica's 6, but only 3 were on target. So that shows how dominant we were, and the number of chances we created, but we just didn't have that quality in front of the goal. And it's got to be better if we're going to beat El Salvador and Mexico.
Yeah. And so for me, I agree with you that part of the issue that I feel that we can do to become a little bit better would just be, again, taking advantage of the mistakes of the other team. Because, again, we just praised the coach for the ability to get the girls in the right mindset to go after and press and go after and hunt the ball down. But then we're just lacking a little bit of that creativity in punishing the team once we make them mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the part where the next level player has to rise up. But now it's just game 1, get the nerves out and stuff. We're still trying to get the proper chemistry on the field, but I'm still need to see more quality in terms of in the dangerous area in front of the goal in the attack.
Well, you talked about, you asked the question like that, what are our strengths? And again, our strengths, I think, is our attacking 4, our attacking players, whether it is Fleuro, whether it is Desert, whether it is Virginia Etienne or Ella Marie Etienne. Our attacking players are going to create chances, but the weaknesses, I think, within the team is the consistency of the quality. There were moments when that final pass we let down, a pass we should make. We were making bad passes, turning the ball over in critical areas. We finally press, we win the ball, but then we don't really make the right decision, the right pass to create that chance for us. So for me, I think as a whole, we have to protect the ball better. Now we have to keep the ball better.
How much of it is personnel and decision-making being an issue, or fatigue?
I think it's all of the above. I think it's all of the above. I mean, I think that some of it is, some of the players may not have that quality, the touch like Dumonet, the touch like Nerelia, the touch like Danny Etienne. They may not have that same level of quality, but and so I think that's some of the concern is because they're not everyone is on that same level. Then secondly, yes, the IQ, the decision making at the right time. When do I dribble? When do I pass? And then where do I pass? I've noticed when we were building out of the back, the center back would play the ball to the right back, and the right back is facing their own goal, and they played the ball to the left foot of the player, and it went out of bounds. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So some of those is just individual technique and the quality of the player. And then there's some of it is how much of it is the coaching, which we don't have a lot of time for Auger to create and teach all of those things because we only have 1 week, before the game starts. So it's a lot of those things.
But here's where I stand with that. This is the national team. Okay, this is the national team. We're competing against other countries. This is supposed to be the best of the best that the country has to offer. Surely we should understand the passing, the proper weight of a pass, and the pressure is on the right shoulder. So pass the ball away from the pressure. Those are the details that a national team coach should not have to waste time in a week's session to teach. You know, so those are the things that I'm noticing. Again, I don't want to be a damper on the success and the win, but these are the details that are going to become a problem when you play Mexico. Absolutely. That's going to be a problem when you play against El Salvador. These teams that will punish mistakes, these teams that will punish these bad passes that we're giving around the top of our box in the midfield. So those are the things we have to think about. Part of the midfield, you mentioned 6. I also like Chelsea Nader, the number 8. All right, with her. She's
Nicolas.
I like this is what I like about her, that she is a ball winner. She wins the ball and she breaks up plays in the midfield. I think she was very instrumental in stopping the game plan of disrupting play and not letting Costa Rica get a rhythm. But she is one of those that we're talking about in terms of, but when we have possession and now we want to keep the ball, that's where she becomes, a little bit behind and needs a little bit more experience. And, but do we have time to wait for her to catch up? Is there someone else within the, that's on the sidelines that can slide in to take that spot? Because she was a powerful presence defensively. And so if you add that offensive piece to her game, then she's a force to be reckoned with. But is there anyone on the sidelines that we can bring in that can make that same impact defensively and then do what I'm saying, be able to connect those passes and build?
That's something that remains to be seen because the coach only made a few substitutions, but he did not. He I don't know if he made a change in the center of the midfield.
He did. Number 10 came off. Our number 10 did was
Nazon came off.
Yeah, Nazon came off, and she was a threat, but again, she was exhausted.
Yeah,
she was exhausted. I would have probably left her on and put her back, and I would have taken our 6 off. Delanchi off, Pierre. But again, I think her experience and her quality, the coach probably felt more of her tired is still a little bit stronger and more composed. But I think
so. Then that's another question. Then, what kind of depth does this U17 have? What kind of roster do we have? Do we have?
That's what concerns me.
Do we have enough players? So if you're going to win a tournament, you need 23 players, all right? Or you need 20 players, however many is on the roster. You need a full roster because players get injured. You get players who get yellow card suspension. Players, there's only one day to recover in between games. So you need a deep roster so that players can slide in and the level doesn't drop.
Right.
And that's what I need to see with this Haitian team is what kind of bench do we have?
Yeah.
Now, again, I like when Ella Marie Etienne came in. I already know what she brings to the table.
Yeah.
And I think by the time this tournament ends and we get to Mexico, she should be starting.
Yeah.
But we have to see. I don't know who else. I'm not sure that the substitutes that came in the game, did they impact the game and against Costa Rica today?
Yeah. And so now, which is, again, a concern for me because here we are after game 1, our midfield, 2 of the 3 played the whole total 95 minutes. Okay. So we get a little rest. Now we go into a tough game against El Salvador.
Yeah.
Okay. If the game is skewed and we more dominant, we get 2 or 3 goals. Okay. Maybe you can take some players out, those 2 midfielders, rest them because you need them for Mexico.
Yeah.
But if the game is even from what we saw, El Salvador is no slouch.
Right.
So if the game is pretty even, you're going to keep your big dogs in. And now when it's time for Mexico, do we have anything left? Stamina is the issue for me. Stamina is the issue. I'm trying to figure out, because we were exhausted in the 65th minute.
Yeah.
And Costa Rica took over.
Yeah.
We got lucky that we were not scored on. We got few penalties, fouls that were questionable, set pieces. We started to get lazy and started hacking and fouling around the perimeter. And so I'm a little concerned about the fatigue part.
It was almost like the senior women's team when they played Costa Rica in the Gold Cup qualifier,
right,
where they're winning the game and we did not close the game out. But here, fatigue is the problem.
Yeah.
So like I was saying from the beginning, number 6, Pierre, Delanchi Pierre, I think that she is the general that we were looking for.
Yeah.
But I wonder, will she be able to keep up with the midfield of Mexico?
Yeah.
Watching Mexico and El Salvador play, the score just came in 3-0 for Mexico. And Mexico is a strong, fast-paced, mobile team. They move. And I don't know, will Delanche Pierre be able to keep up for 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think she'll be able to keep up the physical part. Again, if we come out the same way we came out against Costa Rica and we put a pressure on them, I think it will be tough. But that's game 3. We have a couple of days for them to adjust to see. We have to find rest for her, but at the same time, does she have enough to withstand the wear and tear of the body for tournaments like this? That's going to remain to be seen. But in the midfield, again, if we can get our number 8 Nichols to be a little bit more better on the ball offensively, I think she was very great. She was stellar performance defensively, but offensively is an issue. And a lot of
number 10, Nazon, she did well to give the pass into Dominique Desarts.
She had 10 chances to do that.
That's what I was gonna say. If you're the number 10, then you're the playmaker. All right. And I don't mean just the jersey number on your back. The position she was playing was central, right behind the front 2. I mean the front 3. And so she has to be the playmaker to make that right decision and release players. And I felt that she did very well on that goal. But there was moments where she missed those key plays, those key passes that I think that, another start, I think if she does improve than that against Mexico, we'll be fine. But that's going to be an area of her game, is that she go ahead and take risks. Take risks. You're the playmaker. You're the number 10. Dribble at the players, draw a player in and release. Release somebody, play a player through, play a player in behind, change the attack. So I think if we get a little bit more out of Nazon in the 10 to be more creative and execute the pass in the final third, I think we're going to be fine, especially against El Salvador.
So what is your take on this back line, the back 4 that we had today?
I think the back 4, we really weren't tested. We really weren't tested. We did well enough for the pressure that Costa Rica did apply. We defended that well. However, I think that if we're going to go far in this tournament, we've got to be better. First, let's talk about first just building out. Okay. On the goal kick, just building out. I just feel that our quality has to be better with the ball to make that pass. If the center back is going to play it wide here, is the center back going to find us 6, the midfielder inside in the pocket here? It's just got to be better passes, better movement, building out of the back. Because there are times where we just look like we didn't know where to be. There were times when it looks like even our central midfielders didn't even want the ball. I don't even know how many times did we play the ball from our back line into our center midfielder. It seemed like the majority of the play was get it and play the ball forward into Etienne. And maybe that's the game plan. I don't know. But I know Haitian teams like to play the beautiful game. And so there were moments when we tried, but the quality wasn't there. So for me, I think we got it. And the reason it has to improve is because Mexico put a lot of pressure on El Salvador. And El Salvador put some pressure on Mexico. And when they put a little pressure on Mexico, Mexico was rattled a little bit. But when they backed up off of Mexico, it was easy for Mexico to play the ball through. So for us, if we're going to have the ball and play out of the back, we have to make sure that we have better quality on the ball, better options in front of the ball. And maybe Coach Auger knows that, which is why we play direct. I don't know. So for me, I just feel we just need more quality on the ball, and we can possess a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting to see what happens as we go into the next game against El Salvador. Is there enough time for the coach to work with the back 4 and just their spacing and their shape and their movement and the angling and working with the back 4 and your 6? Does he have enough time to really try to, do some shadow play or what have you? And a lot of them are going to be recovering, So that's going to be interesting to see how we adjust. And then I think this game against El Salvador is going to be a really good test for us.
Yes, I think so. El Salvador, from what I saw against Mexico, seemed to be a little stronger than Costa Rica. But again, if Haiti comes out there and really put the press on them, I think it'll be a similar result for us. So I'm feeling confident that we can take El Salvador as well. But we just we got to be careful because there were moments where, you know, we begin to lose the game. As you mentioned, the last 20 minutes was all Costa Rica. Even in the last 10 minutes, we were making decisions that almost cost us the game.
Yeah.
You know, we have to learn, you know, they call it gamesmanship. We have to learn how to, you know, waste time. You have to run the clock off. We're winning, you know, so you don't have to be in a rush. You know, the goalkeeper gets the ball and quickly roll the ball out. No, lay on the ball. Relax. Get the defense up. There's 10 minutes left. We gave up one goal because of it, you know, and it almost gave up another one. So we just have to learn how to close out games. But I believe that's all the Haitian teams, from the men to the women on down, to senior team on down. We start off well, but we don't finish well. And that's something that we have to, that's on the players, but it's also game management of the coach as well, to make the right decisions and what kind of information is he feeding them. 10 minutes left. We're winning 2-0. What kind of information are we giving the team? You know, and to me, it looked like the last 20 minutes, we were just trying not to give up a goal rather than trying to keep scoring goals.
Right.
You know, and when you do that,
mentality changes.
When that mentality changes, the other team can feed it. They can feed off of that. And I think that's what happened with Costa Rica. Costa Rica can sense that we were saying 2-0 is enough. So let's just sit back and let's not give up a goal. And Costa Rica said that's exactly what I want.
But Etienne, she didn't feel that way. You saw every time she got the ball, she was going.
Etienne is different, but there's 11 players on the field.
I get it. But what I'm saying is I love the mentality of we must go after them. It's not over. We need to score more. We need to put them under pressure. And she didn't wait for her team. She didn't wait to see are you with me? If you're not with me, I'm going by myself. So we just need to have those other players around her with that same mentality saying, yes, I'm with you. And then, yes, are you with me? And we're all with each other going in to win this ball. And I think that's what we're lacking, is just the camaraderie yet. Which it's going to come. It's still early. It should come, but we only have a few days. So what is your feeling going into El Salvador? Haven't seen the side play. You saw the players come off the bench. We saw 2 or 3 players didn't get in, right? So we don't know the full scope of this Haitian team, you know, what we have to offer. Again, we admitted that we have not seen Dominique yet. We haven't seen our outside backs really join yet and really show what we can do. So they just got through the first stage. But what do you see going into this game against El Salvador, or what do we need to see?
Well, I think with El Salvador, first I'll start with the back. Our goalkeeper, I think Kimberly Prince is the number one. She's our goalkeeper. I think she made a couple of great saves, good stops. You know, so I think that it's good when you have confidence in your goalkeeper. When you have confidence in your goalkeeper behind you, it relieves a lot of pressure. So I think number one, we can be sure that our goalkeeper is going to come up with at least 1 or 2 big saves. So that's good for us.
Yeah, but I just hope that we don't see a lot more of those little mental lapses where the punt that she did when she stepped almost 2 feet outside of the 18, and you're giving up a set piece. And they almost scored on that.
I agree with that. But let's talk about something. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but do you know how many times on all levels I've seen goalkeepers do the exact same thing, and they never call it? But that's what I was going to say.
We know this already. We know going into the games that we're looked at differently. The Haitian teams, it's a different eye when we take throw-ins. They're looking at our feet. Right after the goalkeeper, after she did that and gave a free kick, like 2 minutes later, there was a throw-in for Costa Rica, and the girl steps on the field in front of the linesman,
and they don't call it.
They don't call it. You know,
but that's what I'm saying is that part of it is they're looking for something like that they would not normally make that call. But this is something that the Haitian teams need to be prepared for. That when we play in these tournaments, especially when we're winning against the other teams that they prefer to go forward, they're going to look for opportunities to even the game, to give a penalty kick, to give a free kick, and we can't give them that. And so
that's what I mean.
That's something that we have to prepare the teams for. Is when you're playing in these tournaments, that, you know, the game is the game. Things are going to happen. Emotions are going to fly. You're going to get tackles. You're going to get yellow cards. But we can't afford to have mistakes that costly mistakes that can hurt us. You know.
So now, so you start with the goalkeeper. What about the back line? What would you?
Like I mentioned, I think we need to see more composure on the ball. We need to see more composure. And again, against El Salvador, I think the pressure is going to be a little bit higher than against Costa Rica, because now El Salvador, they're fighting to survive. So they're coming to play against Haiti with everything, because their tournament is relying on this game. If they lose, if El Salvador loses to Haiti, they know it's done. They're over with. So they're going to turn up the pressure. So the back four has to be able to absorb that pressure, to be more composed and play smart. So either you play with better composure, or if we're going to play direct, then we got to make sure we squeeze the line up and we fight for second ball.
What would you do if you were the coach?
If I was the coach and we're playing against El Salvador, I would start by playing direct, because we're going to put them under pressure. You're going to give them a taste of what with Etienne, with Desart, with Nazon, what they have to offer. You're going to get a taste of that in the first 5 minutes. So I would play forward. I would play direct and playing behind to put them under pressure.
Basically, let them know this is going to be a long game.
Let them see, oh, you got these girls running at you. Yeah. El Salvador, it's a long game. I wouldn't start with just trying to play beautiful, because they're going to come at us. No, let's get it, and let's play it forward, and let's put them on their back foot, and let's get after them early. Yeah. So that's how I would approach El Salvador.
Yeah. And then, obviously, if we do that, then that's what we need. Again, like we mentioned last night, and I thought we did well with that against Costa Rica, the second ball from the midfield.
Yeah.
Again, we ran out of gas, but we need to win the fight and just dominate the midfield. Do not let them play. Win that second ball if we're going direct. So let's say the first 5-10 minutes, we're going direct and we're sending forward. If we can get Etienne and Lizard in behind, that's great. If it's the ball to their center backs and they hit it back to us, and then we receive from there, whatever it is. But at that point, we have to punish.
To be honest, that will be my game plan for the rest of this tournament, is because I'm not that confident with how we're playing out of the back.
Right.
I'm not that confident with how we're playing. It's just I just think the quality isn't there with the kind of pressure that we're going to see as this tournament goes forward. It's going to be rough. If we're going to be caught with the ball at our feet, I'd rather not have it. I want my defense to play two touch. You get it. Whatever you do, do it in two touches. Get it and play it forward. Get it, play it forward. Now, if a pass is on and you can find Pierre in the middle, then make the pass. Yeah. If you can find Nazon higher up the field, make the pass. But if you're in trouble, don't play with it back there. Get it, play it forward, and let's let the guns run up there, and let's make something happen. Yeah. That's what I would play against Mexico all the way for the rest of this tournament, because the games are only going to get harder from here.
Yeah.
Costa Rica, from what I saw, was our easy game. And they're going to get harder from here. And if we can't handle the kind of pressure that's coming, then we need to bypass that and play forward and fight for the second
ball. So you're saying to kind of more, I guess it's a psychological edge as well, because you mentioned before, our girls are fast, strong, they have the first step, and even the acceleration that comes, the distance that we cover over long distance of a sprint. So our girls are more superior athletically. So more use that part over the technique and the beauty.
We have to, because we really have not had time to prepare. We haven't had the time to prepare of how we're going to build out of the back. What kind of strategy are we playing? The chemistry of the players. We got players coming from the States and players coming from here. So we haven't had time to really, really work on how we're going to play this game. Now, it's different if we had a camp in December, if we had another camp in early January, then we can start to work on those things. But because we didn't, then I wouldn't take any chances. I would use our strength. Our strength is our attacking mentality and our quality up front, our strength up front.
Let them worry about us.
Let them worry about us instead of us worrying about them. The only thing for me is we got to finish our chances.
Yeah. And that's, again, I think we have the quality to do so, but it's got to be early on, because remember, we've only scored 1-0 at the half, and that was close to stoppage time. And then next thing you know, second half, Costa Rica's momentum came as our fatigue settled in. So yeah, you're right. We have to create more. So yep, we're going to need our 10 to create more. We're going to need our 6 to create more. We're going to need more isolations with our 1v1s, with our 7 and 11, so they can create more. And then maybe we can get, because you get Etienne in front of the goal, she's going to score. We get her anywhere in the box, she's going to score. You get Dominique Desir 1v1, she's 9 times out of 10, she's beating that player. Yeah. So now we just got to, like you said, we finish those chances early on. You go up 2, 3, 4 in the first half. Then your second half, now you can see how we can manage the team. How do we manage these players that need the rest? You know, and it's a gamble still. Second half is going to be a gamble, even if we're up in the second half. It's going to be a gamble of who do you rest, because we need them for Mexico. Do you take out Etienne from up top? She played 2 games, 90 minutes. Do you take her off and rest her? Or do you just keep her in there to try to... It's going to be interesting to see.
To be honest, I haven't seen anyone that can play the number 9, that can replace Etienne up there. So she might have to go. We have to make sure that she recovers. We need ice baths, you know, for quick recovery. We need all of that. So we need the physio and everyone to make sure that these girls can recover quickly, because Etienne is one of those that we need him for every game, every minute, every minute. You know. So now, what else do you think? And we'll finish with this. What else do you think that we need going into this game? What has to happen if we're going to be successful against El Salvador?
I think,
because we look at El Salvador, they have a strong number 9 who's very fast up front, which is why I think that if they pressure us, we have to be able to beat that pressure with a good entry pass to the midfield, or we have to have quality balls played up front. And so her name is Medina. She's wearing jersey number 9. She has 7 goals already for Costa Rica for El Salvador in the qualifying. So we're going to need to be able to make sure she can't play, and just make sure she's just out of the game. And so, but I think their midfield was a little bit slow. They're 6, 8, and 10. I think we have a better 6, 8, and 10 if we can protect the ball.
Right.
So
defensively, there's no
so what
match.
do you think? So
I think defensively, there's no match with our midfield and their midfield in terms of ball winning. If the ball is a 50-50 challenge, whether it's on the ground in the air, we're winning those. You know, quick transition from defense to offense, offense to defense. I think we'll have that for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so it's my game plan would be in the 60 minutes, we have to be up at least 3-0. So the last 30 minutes, we make a couple of changes. We still keep pressing, and then we weather the storm for the last 10, 15 minutes. That will be based on personnel that we have now. But what I saw, El Salvador had a number 4. At one point, she was playing their center back. She was playing on the right center back, but then she ended up going to the left center back. I don't know if it was for injury, if it was just subs made, but she, in my opinion, is the player that we need to dictate the game through. What I mean by that is when we allow them to play, I would drop off, like you were mentioning before. Drop to maybe a line of confrontation a little bit, let them play, and then we all go. And once we go, but let her get the ball. I would dictate. I would put Etienne to come more to the right just to make it obvious. We want you to play the ball to your number 4, because she was shaky. She was a right-sided player, and she's playing on the left side. And then she's slow. She's not really mobile. She's, so I think that Etienne will do damage. I think that whoever's going to play on the right side, whether it's Ella Marie or Dominique, if she goes to that right side, whoever is going at her, they're going to beat her 1v1, or she's going to foul. So for me, it's allowing her to have the ball and allow her to try to build, and we pressure her. But then offensively, I'm having every player run at number 4. Just run at her with the ball, throw a fake here or there, tap one way, run around the other way. You're going to get in behind. And then I would have the other players join the play. Be ready for the rebounds. Be ready for the drop-off layoffs. But I will go after them, but I'll specifically go after that number 4 from what I saw today.
Yeah, I think one other thing that we need to do as well, I noticed when I'd like to have Lugina Etienne more central to be the goal scorer. A lot of times she's getting the ball wide, beating players 1v1, coming inside, and she does great at it. But when she does it, she's waiting for support. So either we get hers to stay central and have our wide midfielders, our wingers, do their job and cross balls into her, serve balls into her. Or if we see her making these runs, we need somebody to wrap around and get in the box. There was too many times where she's isolated 1v1 in the flank, and there's not but just one person in the box.
The goal that was scored, the second goal, that was her pressure doing the number 7's job. She goes out, puts pressure, wins the ball. There's no one in sight. So she just shoots.
So she shoots
and scores.
Go.
But where is the 10 making a run forward? The Dominique should be coming forward across and stuff. And we should see that. If our 9 is to the right, somebody has to become the new 9 for that moment. Again,
see, you're talking tactics and all of that, you know.
I mean, just 30 years of coaching, so we got to know a little something. But, you know. But for me, I just think that that's game understanding that either the players should have already. It's going to be difficult for the coach to instill that into players in less than a week's time, you know. So I think at this point, it would just be get our ballers, get the ball to their feet, let them run at players.
Okay.
Now, if El Salvador presses high, I think they're going to try to press. We want that. I would love for them to press us because, as you're saying, I would dictate to not play out of the back as they press us, take a touch, and we get the spacing behind. They're not catching Ella Marie. They're not catching Logenia. They're not catching Desert. They're not. So, in my opinion, it plays in our hand just whatever way, whether we're going to do high press, whether we're going to do line of confrontation press, whether we sit back and be compact. I think either way, if our front 4 are efficient and on point, we win this game easily, 3-0.
So your prediction against Haiti versus El Salvador?
I would say 3-0. 3-0. I think we're going to win this game 3-0. But I think it's going to be probably 2-0 first half, and then we'll get a second goal, 3-0, the third goal in second half. That's my prediction. But it's going to be a battle, you know, at first. We're going to score late in the second half. That's my prediction.
My prediction, I think it's Haiti again with 2-1. Another 2-1. Because again, I'm not sold on our back line yet.
Right.
I'm not. I feel that we haven't been really tested, and the goal that we gave up was as soft as it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're gonna make those same kind of mistakes,
especially when fatigue
that can cost us. It's the second game, and when you get tired, you start giving silly fouls, and the decision making is not there. So my prediction is 2-1 Haiti. Against El Salvador.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, we want the result. Doesn't have to be pretty. We just got to get this result because that'll put us the top 2 teams advance to the next round. So right now, Mexico they're at top of the table because they got 3 goals for and no goal against. And we had 2 goals for, none against.
We blew the shutout.
We blew that. So, but either way, we're in second place. So as it remains, we'll go on to the playoff round into the semifinals. But it's still a long way to go. So, you know, we have to see what we got to do, man.
So we get to see some action in Group B on tomorrow. You're going to see Canada, USA, Panama, all the other teams on the other side that are playing. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this tournament ends because, as you mentioned, the first 2 teams in each group advances to the semifinals. And so as it sits, we're in number 2, which means that we would have to play number 1 of the other group, which USA, I'm sure, is the favorite.
Yeah. So, and then I'm not sleeping on Canada though. I think Canada, you know, it has something. They have, you know, great coaching over there, and some of the girls they play in the Canadian leagues as well as the US league. So it should be definitely a test on that side as well, that bracket, and then, you know, coming in. But I think whoever we go against, you know, it's going to have to be do or die. We're going to have to give everything because we know what we're dealing with. We know what our weaknesses are. Depth is an issue, in my opinion. Stamina is an issue, in my opinion. So we have to beef up our nutritionists. We have to make sure our nutritions and that the players are hydrated, that they're eating properly, that they're getting bananas, they're getting calcium, whatever they need to make sure that to relieve them from cramps and what have you, because we're definitely going to need all of our top players to play in every game. It's going to be very difficult to rest players. And so, but I think that if we're willing to go all out, there is a chance, you know, that Haiti can go for Grenade.
So, Coach Auger, you did an excellent job. Congratulations on the first win, but we got to go a little bit higher. And so, for the rest of the team, again, congratulations. Job well done. Took care of business. Costa Rica down. El Salvador is next. We'll see you on Saturday at 1 o'clock The game will be televised again on FS2. And so we're hoping and we're wishing the girls all the best in this next game. Grenadier Alasso. All right, let's go. Onale, let's do it.